Trudeau didn't ask farmers what we think about the new climate lockdown on human nutrition and farmers' wallets, but one pollster did. Today I'll show you that data, and it's not good for Justin Trudeau. Today on the Buffalo, farmers know BS when we smell it, and that's why those who grow our food and steward the land are overwhelmingly against Trudeau's nitrogen targets, which is precisely why the Liberals refuse to consult with farmers on this new global warming agricultural limit. Those images are of farmers protesting nitrogen targets in the Netherlands imposed upon them by Prime Minister of Holland, Mark Rutte, who is basically, the Dutch Trudeau. The targets, a 30% reduction in nitrogen use and nitrogen emissions, could force Dutch farmers to call livestock walk away from land and face reduced yield on the lands they can use. It will cause food shortages and food inflation. And that's not a guess. It's what happened in Sri Lanka when their government adopted the UN World Economic Forum farming protocols, and food insecurity caused by crop losses led to riots in the street. Now, Justin Trudeau, not one to learn from others' mistakes, is following down the same path as Rutte and Sri Lanka. Just look at this. It's from Energy Now, but they analyze the Liberals' new nitrogen emissions targets. The government is proposing to cut emissions from fertilizer 30% by 2030 as part of a plan to get to net zero in the next 3 decades. But growers are saying that to achieve that, they may have to shrink grain output significantly at a time when the world is scrambling for more suppliers. Also at stake is the estimated $10.4 billion that farmers could lose this decade from reduced output. Today's report was made possible through an important partnership with our friends at the Alberta Prosperity Project. They're a non-profit, non-partisan educational society uniting all Albertans, businesses, and organizations to protect our interests, freedoms, rights, prosperity, and self-determination. To learn more, visit albertaprosperityproject.com. Now, I have new data from an independent pollster, a pollster with a background in farming. iFusion Research, owned by Greg Dunlop, conducts numerous surveys with farmers across Canada. Dunlop is no slouch. He has an honors Bachelor of Science in Agriculture, majoring in environmental biology from the University of Guelph, and an MBA from the Sholich School of Business, majoring in marketing. Seems a little more balanced than your typical Liberal-linked polling firm anyway. Dunlop proposed a 9-question survey, and it was fielded on August 29th in Manitoba, Saskatchewan, and Alberta, and it used an automated phone survey. iFusion used its extensive database of commercial farmers in Canada to draw from. A total of 546 surveys were completed, and the results were weighted by province based on the population of farms, as per Statistics Canada in 2021 Census of Agriculture. Now, to qualify respondents, they weren't just anybody. They had to be currently farming. Manitoba was oversampled to reach at least 100 farmers, given its lower farm population compared to Alberta and Saskatchewan. So these aren't city peoples. These are the actual farmers answering. And on the fertilizer ban, 83% net disagree versus 14% agree. No significant differences by province, and actually it was even higher in the brown soil zone, so that's Saskatchewan. Farmers also think the people making these decisions are clueless. Look at this from the data. Half of all farmers believe that fertilizer emission estimates ignore actual farming practices. Most farmers use nitrogen synthetic fertilizer. With the way emissions are currently calculated, farmers are extremely pessimistic that these Liberal targets can be reached without impacting yields at 82%. Most farmers, 3/4, don't trust the government when they say the targets will be voluntary. No kidding. And here's why the Liberals don't care, though. Overwhelming support for the federal Conservative Party was among farmers in Western Canada, and it was significantly higher with support for Conservatives in Alberta at 80% and lower in Saskatchewan at 65%. The Liberals have less than 4% across these provinces. However, the NDP had significantly higher, but still very low in support in Saskatchewan. The data showed that although not charted, support for the Conservative Party among decided voters was at 85% of the farmers. The Liberals, this means, can brutally punish the farmers of the prairies because there's no political downside for them. There are no votes here for them to lose amongst the farming community. Until the punishment of the farmers hits the people at the grocery store and heat or eat poverty becomes a reality for those Trudeau voters in the city. For the Buffalo, I'm Sheila Gunn Reid with Rebel News. For more Western-focused news and views just like this, be sure to check out thebuffalo.ca.